There is a force at work in your life, a force that is unseen yet unmistakably real. Right now, things are aligning perfectly, setting the stage for a moment that will change everything. You may not see all the pieces fitting yet, but the unseen has already orchestrated the outcome. Imagine that moment as if it is already here. Feel it in your body, sense it in your heart, breathe it into every cell of your being. The world you perceive with your eyes is only a reflection of the world you embrace with your imagination. When you live from the end, you are not wishing or hoping, you are already experiencing. The alignment of events, people, and opportunities is swift and precise. Doors are opening silently, connections are forming invisibly, and situations are bending in your favor. What seems like waiting is actually preparation. What seems like delay is refinement. Your big moment is not far, it is arriving faster than you expect. Do not anchor yourself to current appearances. The mind that clings to lack or limitation will never see the proof of what is coming. Instead, remain steadfast in the feeling of victory, the sensation of completion, and the certainty that the universe is working tirelessly on your behalf. Notice the signs around you, the small synchronizations, the timely conversations, the unexpected solutions. These are confirmations that the alignment is already perfect, that the timing is exact, and that your moment is imminent. Step into action when inspiration strikes, but act not from desperation, but from assurance. Each step you take in faith accelerates the manifestation of what you have already claimed within. Your inner state is a magnet. Your conviction is the law that shapes reality. So prepare yourself. Align your thoughts. Focus your feelings. And maintain the unwavering belief that your big moment is on its way. The unseen has already set the stage. You are ready. You are aligned. And soon the world will reflect what your heart already knows, that everything is perfectly timed and your moment is here. To truly live from the end, you must embrace the experience of your desired reality as if it is already manifested. This is not a matter of wishful thinking or idle daydreaming. It is a conscious, deliberate act of imagination and feeling. The mind has the power to shape the world, but it responds not to vague hopes or distant goals. It responds to the vivid and present sense of fulfillment. When you assume within yourself that the big moment has already arrived, you are not pretending or ignoring reality. You are aligning your inner world with the inevitable truth of your life. The inner state is the seed from which the outer world grows. And until that state is firmly planted and nurtured, the external evidence remains in flux. To live from the end, begin by cultivating the sensations that accompany the achievement of your desire. Close your eyes and imagine the exact scene of your fulfillment. Picture the surroundings, hear the sounds, and feel the emotions as though they are real and immediate. Notice the peace, the joy, the excitement, or the gratitude that naturally arises when a long-awaited moment finally occurs. This is not a fleeting visualization, it is an immersion in the emotional reality of your success. Your consciousness is like fertile soil, and the feelings you cultivate within it are the nutrients that allow your desires to sprout into existence. Many fail to grasp this principle because they wait for external evidence before allowing themselves to feel victory. They are trapped in a world of appearances, allowing circumstances to dictate their sense of possibility. But the law of creation does not operate in reverse. The outer world does not produce the inner state. The inner state produces the outer world. When you feel fulfillment now, even in the absence of proof, you are broadcasting a signal to the universe that your reality is already complete. The unseen aligns itself to match the certainty of your imagination, arranging events, people, and circumstances to conform to the inner conviction you carry. Living from the end also requires persistence and faith. It is not enough to occasionally feel as though your goal has been achieved. You must cultivate a steady, unwavering state in which fulfillment is natural and unquestioned. When challenges arise or delays appear, return to the inner feeling of completion. Let it be your anchor, your guiding force, and your source of resilience. Every action you take, every choice you make, will then emerge from this state of certainty, accelerating the manifestation of your desires. Living from the end transforms not only your external reality but your inner world. It instills confidence, peace, and a profound sense of empowerment. By assuming within yourself that the big moment has already arrived and fully immersing yourself in the corresponding feelings, you align your consciousness with the natural flow of creation. The outer world cannot resist the command of a mind fully convinced of its inner truth. In this way, your imagination becomes the bridge between the invisible and the visible, and your fulfilled state becomes the reality that the world eventually reflects. To trust in the invisible is to recognize that reality is not limited to what your eyes can perceive. Most people measure life by appearances, taking current circumstances as proof of possibility or impossibility. They wait for evidence before they believe, and in doing so they surrender their creative power to the world around them. The unseen, however, is where true creation occurs. Every event, every alignment, every opportunity that will manifest externally begins first as an invisible pattern, an arrangement of forces that is already in motion, even if you cannot yet observe it. The law that governs life operates silently, arranging and orchestrating every detail in perfect timing. Your task is not to control or see this process, but to trust it, to hold faith in the unseen order that is aligning in your favor. Faith in the invisible requires a shift in perception. Instead of doubting because you do not yet have proof, you must affirm the reality of what is forming behind the scenes. You must act as though the unseen is more real than the seen. This does not mean abandoning action or ignoring circumstances. It means that your actions and interpretations are guided by an awareness that reality is being structured according to your inner convictions. Even when obstacles appear, delays seem to persist, or the path forward seems unclear, the invisible framework continues to support and guide you. Each step, each coincidence, each connection is part of a larger, invisible alignment designed to bring about your desired outcome. Many fail to recognize this invisible work because they are tied to the temporal and tangible. They evaluate progress solely by what can be measured or counted, and in doing so they miss the subtleties of creation in motion. The universe communicates through signs, feelings, and synchronistic events that hint at the unseen alignment. Trusting in the invisible means that you perceive these hints, feel their confirmation, and understand that what is hidden is not absent. It is active, orchestrating the reality that your senses will eventually confirm. Your faith acts like a compass, guiding your consciousness to remain in harmony with the direction of this unseen work, rather than being misled by temporary appearances. Remaining faithful to the unseen requires persistence and patience. The mind will often attempt to revert to disbelief, especially when appearances suggest delay or failure. At such times, it is essential to reaffirm your trust, to quiet doubts, and to focus on the certainty that your inner state has already brought forth the reality you seek. This faith is not passive. It is a conscious, deliberate acknowledgement that the universe is already in motion on your behalf, that the alignment is unfolding with precision, and that your external world is catching up with the truth already established within. Trusting in the invisible transforms your experience of life. You become attuned to the subtle currents of creation, able to sense the movement before it manifests. You move with confidence, knowing that the unseen is actively shaping circumstances in perfect order. By placing your faith in what cannot yet be seen, you align yourself with the underlying power of reality itself, ensuring that your desired outcome will manifest as naturally and inevitably as day follows night. In this way, the invisible becomes the most real force in your life, and your trust becomes the bridge that brings it into full expression. To persist in the feeling is to make your inner state the ultimate measure of reality, rather than the fluctuating evidence of your senses. Most people are conditioned to look outward, to base their confidence, hope, and belief on what is immediately visible or tangible. They wait for circumstances to change, for proof to appear, before they allow themselves to feel successful or fulfilled. This approach is the opposite of creation. The world does not first provide the evidence, it responds to the state you inhabit and maintain. Success, completion, and fulfillment begin as a feeling, a vibrational state within your consciousness, and only then does the outer world bend to match it. To persist in the feeling means to hold steadfastly to this internal state, regardless of what temporary appearances suggest. Loyalty to the feeling of success is not passive. It requires conscious attention and deliberate cultivation. You must feel now the victory you desire in its entirety. Visualize the scenario. Immerse yourself in the emotions of accomplishment and allow the sensations of pride, satisfaction, gratitude, or joy to fill your being. As you persist in these feelings, they form a magnetic force, attracting circumstances, people, and events that are in perfect harmony with that inner state. The outer world is a mirror of your inner convictions, and the strength of your feeling determines the speed and precision with which it reflects your imagined reality. Persisting in the feeling also requires resistance to doubt, distraction, and discouragement. The senses will often contradict your desires, showing lack, delay, or misalignment. This is not a reason to waver. It is an opportunity to strengthen your inner state. Every time you return to the feeling of completion in the face of contrary evidence, you reinforce the internal signal that shapes your world. It is this consistency that causes the universe to bend in your favor. Like a steady flame, your persistent feeling lights the way for the unfolding of circumstances, ensuring that external reality eventually conforms to the truth already established within. The power of persistence lies not only in the intensity of the feeling, but also in its continuity. Brief moments of imagination or fleeting emotion are insufficient to alter reality. You must cultivate a continuous awareness of your desired state, allowing it to saturate your consciousness throughout the day. Speak, think, and act as though the reality you seek is already present. Let the feeling dominate your perception so that temporary setbacks or contradictory appearances cannot shake your inner conviction. In doing so, you are no longer responding to life as it appears. You are commanding life from the fulfillment already within you. To persist in the feeling is to wield the law of consciousness with mastery. The world bends to the state you maintain, and persistence is the bridge between imagination and manifestation. When you remain loyal to the emotions of success and completion, the unseen aligns itself. Circumstances shift, and the evidence of your desires appears naturally. The outer world cannot resist a mind fully anchored in the feeling of what it seeks. Your inner state becomes the engine of creation, and persistence is the fuel that drives it forward, until the reality you have felt so vividly becomes undeniably real in your experience. To release resistance is to surrender the mental and emotional blocks that delay the natural manifestation of your desires. Resistance comes in many forms: doubt, fear, impatience, worry, and even subtle skepticism. These forces act as barriers between the inner state of conviction and its outward expression. Every doubt you entertain, every fear you nurture, and every impatient thought you allow weakens the signal of your inner reality. They create friction where there should be flow, hesitation where there should be certainty, and delay where there should be rapid unfolding. The first step toward liberation is recognizing that these obstacles are not real in themselves. They are only temporary shadows that have no power over the truth already established within your imagination. The essence of resistance is disbelief in the unseen, a clinging to appearances rather than the certainty of what has already been claimed. When you focus on lack, delay, or contradiction, you give life to forces that oppose your inner conviction. Your mind becomes the battlefield where imagination and fear contend, and until fear yields, the outer world will remain slow to respond. Letting go of resistance is a conscious choice to refuse participation in doubt. It is deciding in every moment that your inner state of fulfillment is the authority over your experience. The moment you release the grip of fear and impatience, the energy of your consciousness is freed to work in alignment with the desired outcome, unimpeded by the mental turbulence that previously held it back. Releasing resistance requires awareness and discipline. Notice when thoughts of impossibility or delay creep in. Observe them without judgment, understanding that their power comes only from the attention you give them. Then deliberately redirect your focus to the reality you have imagined. Feel the certainty of your inner conviction, anchor yourself in it, and refuse to entertain opposing narratives. This is not suppression or denial. It is a conscious choice to live in the truth of your imagination rather than the lies of the senses. Each time you practice this, you strengthen the bridge between your inner world and the outer manifestation, accelerating the arrival of your desires. Patience is a key element in releasing resistance. Impatience stems from a misunderstanding of timing, a false belief that fulfillment should conform to your schedule rather than the perfect orchestration of life's alignment. When you let go of impatience, you allow the unseen to complete its work without interference. You acknowledge that your inner state has already claimed the outcome and that external circumstances are simply catching up. Fear and doubt are no longer needed as companions, for your inner certainty provides all the guidance and assurance required. Releasing resistance is the act of total trust in the creative power within you. The moment you surrender fears, doubts, and impatience, you create space for life to flow seamlessly in your favor. You step into alignment with the forces already at work, allowing manifestation to occur naturally and effortlessly. The inner conviction you maintain is the engine of reality, and resistance is simply the friction that slows it down. Let it go and watch as the unseen arrangements unfold perfectly, bringing your desires into immediate expression. To observe synchronicities is to recognize the subtle orchestration of life that signals the fulfillment of your desires. The universe communicates in ways that are often overlooked. Through timely events, chance encounters, repeated numbers, unexpected solutions, and seemingly small coincidences. These are not random occurrences. They are deliberate confirmations that your inner state is being mirrored by the outer world. When you attune yourself to these patterns, you begin to see that your big moment is already approaching. Synchronicities are the footprints of unseen forces at work, aligning circumstances, people, and opportunities to bring your imagined reality into tangible form. Recognizing these signs requires attentiveness and a receptive mind. Many pass through life focused only on immediate tasks or problems, missing the delicate threads that connect events in perfect timing. To observe synchronicities, you must train yourself to notice the coincidences that appear too precise to be accidental. A chance meeting, a sudden insight, or an opportunity arriving out of nowhere is evidence that the unseen is active, that alignment is occurring, and that your desires are on their way. Each synchronicity is a message, an encouragement to remain in your inner state of fulfillment, and a reminder that the outer world is reflecting the inner conviction you maintain. Feeling the confirmation of these events is just as important as noticing them. When you see a meaningful alignment, pause and allow the sensation of certainty to wash over you. Let it reinforce the knowledge that your big moment is imminent. Your emotions are the language through which the universe communicates, and the feeling of recognition amplifies the signal between your inner world and outer manifestation. When you respond with awareness and gratitude, you strengthen the magnetism of your consciousness, drawing circumstances into even closer alignment with the reality you have imagined. Synchronicities often appear in sequences, as if life is giving you repeated nods of affirmation. Pay attention to these patterns. Notice how certain numbers, words, or events may recur, each repetition a signal that you are on the correct path. Do not dismiss these signs as trivial or coincidental. They are deliberate confirmations that your inner state has already set the stage for the outer world to follow. Life moves in harmony with consciousness, and when you maintain attention to these signals, you participate actively in the unfolding of your desired outcome. Observing synchronicities also teaches patience and trust. Even when progress seems slow or circumstances appear uncertain, the alignment is already happening. By recognizing and feeling the confirmation of these signs, you cultivate faith in the invisible orchestration that supports your life. Each synchronicity is a reminder that nothing is random, that everything is moving in perfect timing, and that your big moment is drawing near. The outer world will eventually mirror what your inner consciousness already knows, but until it does, these signs serve as proof that creation is underway. Observing synchronicities is a practice of awareness, recognition, and emotional resonance. It strengthens your connection to the unseen, reinforces your inner conviction, and allows you to feel the certainty of your impending success. By noticing and embracing these confirmations, you step into the flow of life, aligned with the forces that are already arranging your reality. The universe is speaking. It is signaling that your big moment is coming fast. And when you observe and feel these signs, you participate fully in its perfect orchestration. To act from inspired assurance is to move in harmony with the inner certainty of fulfillment, rather than in reaction to fear, doubt, or external pressure. Most people mistake busyness or frantic effort for progress, believing that desperation and anxiety are necessary to bring results. But action born from worry or compulsion is misaligned energy. It does not attract or accelerate the manifestation of your desires. True action flows effortlessly from a state of inner confidence, from the quiet knowing that your big moment is already on its way. When you act from inspired assurance, your steps are not forced or hesitant. They are deliberate, precise, and in perfect resonance with the unseen forces already orchestrating your life. Inspired assurance is the result of a cultivated inner state. It emerges from a deep sense of trust in your imagination, in your conviction, and in the natural order of unfolding. When you have fully assumed the feeling of fulfillment, released resistance, and observed the signs of alignment around you, action becomes a natural extension of this state. You no longer push against reality or attempt to manipulate outcomes. You respond to opportunities with clarity, intuition, and confidence. Every inspired step is an affirmation that your inner state is correct and that the external world is simply catching up to what your consciousness has already claimed. Acting from inspired assurance requires listening to the subtle cues of your own inner guidance. It is a shift from reactive thinking to attuned awareness. Often, life presents options, encounters, and openings that seem small or inconsequential, yet they are perfectly timed. When you trust your instincts, when you feel a surge of readiness or inspiration, that is the signal to move. These are the moments when the alignment of circumstances has created the ideal conditions for your action to be effective. Hesitation, overthinking, or waiting for further confirmation only dilutes the energy of your movement and delays the natural unfolding. Confidence born of inner certainty allows you to step forward decisively, knowing that the universe supports your efforts. This approach also teaches the importance of balance. Acting too early, out of doubt or impatience, can disrupt the natural flow of events. Acting too late, from indecision or fear, can result in missed opportunities. Inspired assurance maintains the equilibrium between timing and readiness. You move when your inner sense tells you to move. You pause when it tells you to pause. In this way, each step is synchronized with the invisible orchestration that is already aligning events in your favor. Life responds not to frantic effort, but to the alignment of conscious intention and confident action. To act from inspired assurance is to participate in the manifestation of your desires with grace and clarity. Your movements are no longer forced. Today, I want you to recognize a truth so powerful it can transform your life. Everything you've been expecting is already coming together. You may not see it clearly yet, but the very essence of your desire is quietly aligning in the invisible world. It all begins in your imagination. What you consistently imagine, with feeling and conviction, acts as a blueprint for reality. Every thought, every mental image, every feeling you cultivate is planting seeds in the fertile soil of life. If you can see it in your mind and feel it in your heart, it is already on its way to becoming your experience. Faith in the invisible is your anchor. Circumstances may appear contrary, people may doubt, and the world may seem slow. But remember, unseen forces are orchestrating events on your behalf. Life has a way of arranging itself to fulfill your heart's expectation. Your belief, unwavering and persistent, is the magnet drawing your desires into form. Persistence is your secret weapon. Continue to dwell in the reality you wish to experience. Do not be swayed by temporary setbacks or delays. The longer you live in the feeling of the fulfilled desire, the more tangible it becomes. Expectation, combined with sustained imagination, is irresistible to the universe. Release the how. You do not need to control the path your desires will take. Focus only on the end result. Let life, in its infinite wisdom, coordinate circumstances, people, and opportunities to bring your vision into reality. Your job is to feel it, believe it, and live in it. Synchrony is already at work around you. Events, encounters, and moments are aligning perfectly. What may seem like chance or coincidence is actually the invisible gears of life shifting to meet your expectation. Trust this divine timing, for every delay, every seeming obstacle is merely the preparation for a greater unfolding. And above all, live in the end. Imagine, act, and feel as though your desire is already fulfilled. Speak as if it has already happened. Carry yourself in the consciousness of accomplishment. When you do this, the outer world cannot help but mirror the reality you carry within. Everything you've been expecting is converging. Opportunities, solutions, and blessings are flowing to you in perfect order. Your belief and imagination have set the wheels in motion, and life is answering. Stand firm in your expectation, live as if it is already done, and watch as the invisible becomes visible, as the unseen becomes tangible, and as your long-held desires unfold before your eyes. Everything is coming together. All you need to do is continue to believe, feel, and imagine. The world is conspiring for your fulfillment. Your imagination is far more powerful than you have been led to believe. Every moment you spend envisioning, every mental picture you hold with feeling, is not just idle thought. It is the blueprint of your reality. What you see clearly in your mind is already shaping the world around you, even if your senses have yet to confirm it. The life you have been longing for, the circumstances you desire, the joy, success, or abundance you seek are not distant possibilities. They are already forming because your inner vision is aligning with them. When you imagine something vividly, you are sending a signal to the universe, a signal that says, "This is my reality." That signal begins to move through the unseen, rearranging events, influencing people, and opening doors in ways you cannot yet see. Most people live as if the outside world is the ultimate measure of what is possible. They wait for circumstances to change, for opportunities to appear, for people to act in their favor. But the truth is that your inner world, the world of imagination, is the ultimate source of all creation. What you assume, what you dwell upon in your mind, and what you feel as real will inevitably manifest in your outer life. Your imagination is like an architect drafting the plans of a building. The structure may not yet exist in the physical world, but the blueprint determines every angle, every detail, every proportion. Without a detailed and vivid mental plan, nothing can take form outside of you. But with imagination engaged fully, with attention and feeling, life begins to obey. Feeling is the key. A simple mental image without emotional engagement is weak and ineffective. But when you enter into the experience as if it is already real, when you feel the joy, the satisfaction, the relief, or the excitement, as though it has already happened, you are planting seeds in the invisible that cannot fail to grow. Your imagination becomes alive, vibrant, and irresistible to the universe. The more real it feels, the faster it manifests. The life you have been longing for is already on its way. It is only a matter of time before the inner vision expresses itself outwardly. Everything begins in the mind, and everything is first formed there. People who achieve extraordinary results, who live extraordinary lives, are those who have mastered this inner process. They see it, feel it, and accept it as already theirs. And because they have fully assumed it as reality, the external world has no choice but to respond. Your imagination is not fantasy. It is the divine power you carry within you to shape your destiny. When you embrace it, nurture it, and act from it, the life you have been longing for is not a dream. It is an inevitable unfolding of what you have already created within. Faith in the invisible is the foundation upon which all creation stands. It is the quiet, unshakable belief that what you cannot yet see is already in motion, arranging itself to fulfill your deepest desires. The world around you may appear to contradict your hopes and dreams. Circumstances may seem delayed, people may act in ways that confuse or frustrate you, and obstacles may arise where you least expect them. Yet these outer appearances are never the ultimate measure of what is happening. Behind the scenes, unseen forces, subtle, intelligent, and perfectly aligned with your vision, are orchestrating the fulfillment of your expectation. Faith is the recognition that the invisible realm, which cannot be measured by the senses, is far more real and far more potent than anything the eyes can perceive. When you cultivate faith in the invisible, you learn to trust the process of life itself. You understand that everything you experience is first conceived in the unseen world, and that all outer events are reflections of what is already moving toward you in the inner realm. What you expect in your heart is not a distant hope or a mere wish. It is already in motion, and life is responding with perfect timing. Even delays, frustrations, or apparent contradictions are simply part of the careful arrangement, ensuring that your desire will manifest in the most complete and satisfying way. To doubt the unseen is to resist your own creation. To trust it is to align yourself with the inevitable unfolding of your expectation. Faith does not demand that you see a path, a plan, or a reason. It asks only that you remain steadfast in your inner conviction. It is a confidence that transcends circumstance, a calm assurance that all is moving toward the end you have imagined. When you feel this faith deeply, it becomes a magnet, attracting the people, opportunities, and events that correspond to your desire. Life, which responds to consciousness, cannot ignore the certainty you hold in your mind and heart. The unseen realm operates with absolute precision. It will not fail to bring to fruition what has been truly believed, even if the process is hidden from view. Trusting the invisible also brings peace and freedom. Instead of being tossed by every change in the outer world, you anchor yourself in the certainty of the inner world. You know that your expectation is alive and active, quietly shaping reality. This trust is not passive. It is a conscious, deliberate alignment with what you wish to see manifested. It is the understanding that life is not random, that your desires are not at the mercy of chance, but are being carefully cultivated in the unseen to appear in your experience exactly as imagined. Faith in the invisible is the key that unlocks the door between imagination and reality. When you accept that what you cannot yet see is already moving toward you, you step into a life of confidence, assurance, and unstoppable momentum. The circumstances may appear contrary, but the invisible forces are faithful. They are working on your behalf, orchestrating every detail, and ensuring that what you expect in your heart will inevitably take form in your life. Persistence is the hidden force that transforms imagination into reality. Many people desire change, success, or abundance, yet they give up at the first sign of difficulty, thinking that the outer world dictates the speed of their manifestation. The truth is that what you hold consistently in your imagination, what you persistently feel as real, is already moving toward expression. Your outer circumstances are not the measure of what is possible. Your inner persistence is the key that unlocks the door between expectation and experience. Each moment you return to the feeling of fulfillment. Each time you dwell in the consciousness of your desire as if it is already accomplished, you strengthen the invisible thread that binds imagination to reality. To persist is not simply to think a wish repeatedly, it is to live in the end, to embody the feeling of the fulfilled desire with unwavering attention. The mind can wander, and circumstances can seem to challenge your faith, yet the power of persistence lies in your ability to remain faithful to the inner vision. When you persist, when you refuse to let temporary appearances dictate your reality, you are planting seeds in the unseen that cannot fail. These seeds grow silently, steadily, and inevitably into the life you have imagined. Persistence is not a matter of effort or struggle. It is a matter of quiet, determined focus on what you wish to see manifested. The world rewards persistence not in the form of forced effort, but as a natural consequence of holding to the reality of your desire. Life responds to the consciousness that refuses to be shaken. Each day you return to the feeling of already having what you want. Each moment you act, think, and imagine from the perspective of fulfillment. You are laying a foundation that the universe cannot ignore. Persistence in imagination is the secret power that transforms dreams into living experience. Without it, hopes remain wishes, and visions remain unmanifested. With it, the unseen becomes visible, and expectation ripens into reality. It is also important to understand that persistence must be accompanied by feeling. A mere intellectual belief, a fleeting thought, cannot compel the universe to respond. The persistent feeling of reality, of satisfaction, joy, gratitude, or excitement acts as the magnetic force that draws circumstances and people into perfect alignment with your inner vision. The more real it feels in the heart, the more unstoppable its manifestation becomes. Persistence is therefore not stubbornness against life, but a deep alignment with the inner truth of your desire. It is the refusal to let outer appearances dictate your inner conviction. Love cannot be made. True love is not physical. Love can only come from within. Love is not based upon outside. When you persist in imagination, you enter a state where doubt, fear, and impatience lose their power over you. You move through life anchored in certainty, confident that your desire is already accomplished in the unseen. Every delay, every seeming obstacle, only strengthens your inner resolve, proving to you that what is real in your imagination cannot be denied by the outer world. Persistence is not only power, it is the very method by which expectation becomes experience and imagination transforms into living reality. One of the greatest obstacles to manifestation is the desire to control the details of how your desires will come to pass. Most people try to plan, strategize, and manipulate circumstances in an attempt to force their goals into reality. Yet this need to know the how creates resistance, blocking the natural flow of life that is always working on your behalf. True manifestation is not about figuring out every step or charting every route. It is about holding a clear vision of the end result and trusting that life, in its infinite intelligence, will arrange the means to bring it to you. When you release the how, you step into a space of ease, grace, and effortless creation, where your desires are able to unfold in perfect order. The outer world cannot be forced, but the inner world can be fully assumed. When you focus on the end result, imagining and feeling it as already accomplished, you are planting the seed in the unseen. This seed contains within it all the power, timing, and means necessary for its manifestation. Life responds to the certainty of your inner state, and when you hold the vision firmly in your mind and heart, the unseen world begins to arrange circumstances, people, and events in a way that will perfectly bring your desire to life. The details will come naturally. You do not need to force them. Trying to control the how is like gripping a river and trying to direct its flow. It only creates struggle. Letting go allows the current of life to move freely, bringing what you have imagined in ways that are often more magnificent than you could have planned. Trust in the intelligence of life. Every opportunity, every coincidence, every encounter is part of the unfolding of your vision. When you focus on the end rather than the process, you are in harmony with the invisible forces that are already working for you. The universe has an infinite capacity for problem solving and for arranging circumstances beyond human comprehension. When you stop worrying about the mechanics of manifestation, you free your mind and heart to dwell fully in the experience of the fulfilled desire. This is where true power resides, in assuming the reality of your wish, feeling it deeply, and allowing life to do the rest. Releasing the how is also an act of faith. It is a declaration that you trust the invisible, that you know your desire is already in motion, and that the perfect solution will appear at the perfect time. This trust transforms your relationship with life. Instead of anxiety, you feel confidence. Instead of struggle, you feel ease. Instead of doubt, you feel certainty. The outer world may still appear chaotic or uncertain, but your inner state remains unshakable, and the external reality begins to mirror the calm assurance you carry within. When you let go of the need to know, you allow the creative intelligence of life to orchestrate the steps. Doors open, connections appear, and events unfold in ways that are often more beautiful and aligned than you could have imagined. The end result is all that matters. Focus on it, feel it, and act from it, and life will naturally provide the how without effort. By releasing the how, you step into the effortless power of creation, where expectation transforms into experience and imagination becomes reality. Life has an extraordinary way of aligning circumstances, people, and opportunities in perfect harmony when your inner vision is clear. This alignment is not random, it is the natural outcome of the consciousness you carry within. Every thought, feeling, and expectation creates ripples that move through the unseen world, gently rearranging events to bring your desire into reality. Opportunities appear, sometimes in unexpected forms, and people cross your path who will support or guide you in ways that seem miraculous. Even when it feels like there is a delay, these moments are not setbacks, they are part of the careful orchestration of life, ensuring that everything falls into place at precisely the right time. Synchrony is the invisible order that responds to the certainty of your inner conviction. When you begin to trust this synchrony, you start to see that the universe is constantly conspiring in your favor. Nothing is wasted, nothing happens by chance, and every delay or detour has a purpose. What may seem like an obstacle is often a vital piece of the larger picture, a stepping stone that prepares you for the manifestation of your desire. People arrive in your life at exactly the moment they are needed. Resources appear when they are most effective. Doors open that could not have been forced or predicted. Life is rearranging itself moment by moment to align with the reality you have assumed in your imagination. Your role is not to control this process, but to remain faithful to the inner vision and trust that the external world will mirror it. Synchrony also teaches patience, for timing is a critical part of manifestation. The universe knows exactly when and how to bring everything together to produce the most harmonious and complete result. By resisting delays or becoming anxious, you interrupt the flow of alignment. By trusting in the invisible orchestration, you allow life to work with effortless precision. Every event, every coincidence, and every encounter is a note in a symphony. And when you allow the music to play without interference, it produces a perfect harmony that exceeds your expectations. The people, opportunities, and resources that appear in your life are reflections of your inner state. If you carry faith, certainty, and expectation, the world responds in kind. Align your thoughts and feelings with the fulfillment of your desire, and life will bring the necessary elements into your experience. Synchrony is the evidence of this alignment in action, a visible manifestation of the unseen forces moving to satisfy your heart's expectation. Recognize that every apparent delay or obstacle is not a denial but a rearrangement. Life is adjusting circumstances, placing the right people, timing the perfect opportunities, and presenting resources exactly where and when they are most effective. Your task is to stay centered, to remain in the feeling of fulfillment, and to trust that everything is coming together. When you do, you will see that the world is not chaotic, but perfectly ordered, to reflect the reality you have assumed within. Synchrony is the invisible engine that makes manifestation inevitable. And when you embrace it, you walk with confidence, knowing that everything you have expected is aligning in perfect harmony to bring your desires into form. Living in the end is the ultimate secret to manifestation. It is the practice of assuming the reality of your desire as if it is already accomplished. Most people live in a state of longing, waiting for conditions to change, or hoping that circumstances will eventually align. But the truth is that the outer world responds to the consciousness you carry in the present moment. If you act, feel, and think from the perspective of having already achieved your desire, your reality must eventually conform to that assumption. The present assumption is the seed from which the future grows. And by living in the end, you plant that seed firmly in the fertile soil of your imagination, where it cannot fail to sprout into experience. To live in the end is not mere wishful thinking. It is a deliberate, conscious practice of embodying the state of fulfillment. You must see yourself as already enjoying what you desire, feel the satisfaction deeply in your heart, and carry yourself in alignment with that reality. When you feel the emotions of accomplishment, joy, gratitude, and confidence as though your wish has already been realized, you impress that reality upon the unseen world. Life responds to this internal reality, bringing circumstances, people, and opportunities into harmony with your inner assumption. The world you observe is always a reflection of your dominant inner state, and by living in the end, you direct that reflection toward the life you wish to experience. This practice requires persistence and faith. You must refuse to be shaken by appearances, for the senses often show a reality that is not yet aligned with the unseen. To live in the end is to ignore the current circumstances and remain faithful to the truth of your imagination. It is to act in thought, word, and feeling as though your desire is already yours. The power of your assumption does not rely on external proof. It relies on your inner certainty. The stronger your belief, the more tangible your manifestation becomes. Acting from this state creates a magnetic effect that draws all necessary conditions into alignment, making the fulfillment inevitable. Living in the end also transforms your behavior and decisions. When you assume the reality of your desire, your actions naturally align with that state. You no longer struggle or force outcomes. You act from confidence and certainty, knowing that everything is already arranged in the invisible realm. This alignment between thought, feeling, and action ensures that your outer world is a faithful reflection of your inner reality. You become a living demonstration of your imagined vision, and the universe has no choice but to mirror it back to you. Living in the end is the conscious acceptance of your creative power. It is the understanding that reality begins in consciousness and that the future you desire is already present in the mind that assumes it. By consistently thinking, feeling, and acting from the fulfilled state, you accelerate the manifestation of your desires. The life you imagine is not a distant dream. It is the inevitable result of the inner reality you cultivate today. By living in the end, you step into a life of certainty, confidence, and effortless creation, where expectation becomes reality and imagination takes form. As we bring this journey to a close, remember this. Everything you have imagined, everything you have longed for, is already moving toward you. Your imagination is the blueprint of your reality. Your faith in the unseen is the force that carries it forward. And your persistence ensures that no delay can stop it. Life is constantly aligning opportunities, people, and resources in perfect synchrony to bring your desires into form. When you live in the end, feeling, thinking, and acting as if your dreams are already realized, you step into the creative power that shapes your future. Nothing is missing, nothing is lacking. The life you have been expecting is already arranging itself to manifest exactly as you have imagined. Hold fast to this truth. Remain steadfast in your inner conviction. Trust in the invisible, persist in the feeling of fulfillment, release the need to control the how, and allow life to unfold in perfect timing. The universe is working in your favor, and your desires are inevitable. Everything you've been expecting is coming together, and all that remains is for you to claim it fully with faith, joy, and certainty. Thank you for allowing yourself to step into this truth today. May you carry this awareness into every thought, every feeling, and every action, knowing that the life you imagine is not only possible, It is already yours. There comes a moment in every soul's journey when the invisible begins to move, quietly, powerfully, and without warning. You may not see it yet, but the shift has already begun. You can feel it in the stillness between your thoughts, in the gentle pull that tells you something is changing. That's not imagination, that's divine activity. God is rearranging the details of your life, aligning circumstances, people, and timing to serve the purpose He planted within you. You might look around and see nothing happening. Doors may appear closed, prayers may seem unanswered, but remember this: everything visible is born from what is unseen. The moment you believed, the shift was set in motion. Life is not happening to you, it's unfolding through you. Every challenge, every delay, every silence from heaven is a sign that something greater is forming in the background. God does not deny, He designs. The favor you've been praying for is already yours in spirit. The key is not to chase it, but to embody it. Speak from the place of fulfillment, not lack. Feel the reality of your answered prayer as if it were here now, because in the divine realm, it already is. The universe responds to your inner conviction. When you change your inner atmosphere, the outer world has no choice but to comply. So shift your focus from when will it happen to it is happening now. Every closed door is protection. Every delay is preparation. Every detour is direction. God is not punishing you, He's positioning you. The shift has begun, and though it may not yet appear in the mirror of your outer life, it is already done in the realm of spirit. Stay in faith. Speak as though you already have it. Feel as though it's already yours. Because once you do, everything that once resisted you will start working in your favor. You are entering a new season, one where grace multiplies, doors open effortlessly, and favor follows you wherever you go. The shift has begun, and this time it's all moving in your favor. ChatGPT said, the invisible shift has already started, though your physical eyes may not yet perceive it. Life always begins in the unseen. Every visible event, every outcome, every manifestation starts as a vibration, a thought, a feeling, a silent conviction held within the spirit. Before anything takes shape in the outer world, it must first take root in the inner one. The spiritual dimension is the origin of every form. It is where the blueprint of your destiny is drawn before it ever touches the canvas of time. Right now, something is moving beneath the surface of your experience. It's quiet, it's subtle. It doesn't announce itself with thunder or noise, yet it's powerful beyond measure. While you're busy wondering if your prayers were heard, the answer is already being prepared. While you're trying to figure out how things will unfold, divine intelligence is rearranging people, places, and possibilities to align perfectly with the vibration of your faith. You may not see evidence yet, but that doesn't mean nothing is happening. The invisible shift often takes place long before the visible change appears. Think of a seed buried beneath the soil. For days, weeks, maybe even months, there's no sign of life on the surface. To the impatient eye, it looks as though nothing is happening. But underground, the seed is cracking open, roots are spreading, and life is forming in the dark. The moment that seed was planted, growth began. It just wasn't visible yet. The same is true for you. The moment you set your intention, The moment you dared to believe something better was possible, the shift began. You may feel like you're standing still, but you're not. The unseen realm is in motion. Energy responds to belief. The moment you hold a new image of yourself, not the version limited by past experiences, but the one aligned with divine potential, that image begins to rearrange reality to match it. Every thought you entertain and every emotion you sustain is a brushstroke painting your future into existence. That's how powerful you are. The challenge is that most people stop believing because they cannot yet see. But sight is not the evidence of faith, it is the result of it. The physical world is simply a delayed reflection of what already exists in spirit. When you understand that truth, you no longer panic in silence. You no longer beg or chase. You rest in knowing that what's meant for you is already unfolding in unseen ways. This is why patience is not passive, it's powerful. Waiting in faith is not inactivity, it's alignment. It's choosing to believe that even in the quiet moments, God is moving. The universe is shifting. The divine plan is advancing with precision. So instead of asking, when will it happen? Begin to whisper, it's already happening, because it is. The invisible shift has begun, and soon the world will catch up to what your spirit already knows is true. Your inner state is the true architect of your outer reality. The world you see is not separate from the consciousness you carry within. Life does not respond to what you say you want. It mirrors what you truly believe. The moment your inner conviction becomes aligned with divine certainty, the kind of faith that does not waver with appearances, everything outside of you begins to reorganize itself to match that belief. Every experience you have ever lived began as a vibration in your inner world. Your thoughts, emotions, and expectations form an energetic field that communicates constantly with the universe. When that field is filled with doubt, fear, or frustration, life echoes those frequencies back through situations that reinforce them. But when you choose to dwell in faith, not just hopeful words, but genuine inner knowing, reality bends to that knowing. You become magnetic to experiences that reflect the peace, abundance, and alignment you hold within. This is why true transformation never starts by fixing the outer world. You could change jobs, move cities, or meet new people, but unless your inner atmosphere shifts, you'll recreate the same patterns in a different setting. The universe is not listening to your words, it's responding to your vibration. The energy you carry is a command, not a request. And that energy is shaped by what you believe to be true about yourself, your life, and the divine power moving through you. When you reach a place of inner certainty, the quiet confidence that you are guided, supported, and favored, that certainty radiates outward. It begins to attract the right people, opportunities, and timing without effort. Life starts to flow instead of resist. You begin to notice synchronicities, moments that seem too perfect to be coincidence. These are not accidents. They are reflections of your alignment. The external world is simply catching up to the internal frequency you've been holding. You don't have to force things into place when your inner state is right. Forcing is a symptom of doubt. Alignment is the fruit of faith. When your heart and mind are in harmony, with the idea that all is working for your good, you no longer chase outcomes, you draw them. You no longer worry about how or when. You trust that what belongs to you cannot be delayed or denied. The most powerful shift you will ever experience happens the moment you choose to feel as though your desire is already fulfilled. That feeling, that calm, confident knowing, is the language the universe understands. The moment you embody it, unseen forces begin to move, circumstances, conversations, and coincidences align in ways your logical mind could never plan. So if your outer world seems chaotic or stagnant, don't rush to change the external. Go within. Adjust the frequency of your belief. Choose thoughts that match the reality you wish to live in, not the one you wish to escape. Because the instant your inner state shifts, the outer world must follow. It's not a question of if, it's a law of divine correspondence. Nothing in your life is truly against you. Though it may seem otherwise at times, every event, every delay, and every moment of resistance is part of a divine choreography guiding you toward perfect alignment. Life is not a random series of trials. It's a purposeful unfolding designed to bring you into harmony with the version of yourself that can receive and sustain what you've asked for. When you understand this, frustration turns into faith, and confusion turns into clarity. You see, what feels like a setback is often protection. The delay you resent may be the very pause that saves you from walking into something premature. The person who walked away might have made room for the connection that will truly support your destiny. The opportunity that slipped through your fingers wasn't rejection, it was redirection. You are never being punished, you are being positioned. Every obstacle is an invitation to trust that divine intelligence knows the path better than you do. Imagine your life as a grand symphony, where every note, even the ones that sound dissonant, contributes to a perfect melody. When you are in the middle of the song, you may not understand why certain notes clash or why certain pauses stretch longer than expected. But the composer hears the entire score from beginning to end. What seems chaotic to you is harmony to the one who sees the full picture. The resistance you encounter isn't there to stop you, it's there to shape you. Every time you face disappointment and choose to stay in faith, your spiritual foundation strengthens. Every time you walk through uncertainty and refuse to surrender to fear, you expand your capacity to hold more light, more wisdom, more grace. You are being refined, not rejected. Growth requires pressure and alignment requires surrender. When something doesn't work out, it's easy to assume something went wrong. But in truth, the universe is always saying one of two things. Yes, this is for you, or not yet. I have something better. The delays are not denials. They are divine pauses to ensure everything aligns perfectly. Your timing, your readiness, and the readiness of the blessing itself. Even pain serves a purpose. It awakens you to deeper understanding. It detaches you from illusions that no longer serve your higher path. It forces you to look inward, to discover that peace isn't found in circumstances, but in connection to the divine within you. Once you grasp this, you stop fighting life. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start declaring, "This is happening for me." In that shift of awareness, everything changes. You begin to see that nothing was ever lost, only transformed. Every closed door was a corridor to something greater. Every disappointment was divine realignment. So take a breath, release resistance, and trust the process. Because right now, in this very moment, everything is working for you in ways your mind can't yet comprehend, but your spirit already knows. Faith is not waiting. faith is knowing. Waiting implies uncertainty, a subtle belief that what you desire may or may not come. Knowing, on the other hand, carries the energy of completion, the inner assurance that what you have imagined already exists in the unseen and is merely awaiting expression in the physical world. The universe does not respond to wishful thinking or hopeful longing. It responds to conviction, to the vibration of someone who already is what they desire to become. Faith is the silent language of creation. It does not beg, it does not chase, and it does not doubt. It simply knows. When you operate from this state, you no longer ask if it will happen. You live as though it already has. This is not delusion, it's alignment. The outer world always follows the pattern of the inner one. When your inner world holds a picture of fulfillment with unwavering certainty, the laws of creation must bring it into form. Most people wait for evidence before they believe, but true faith works in the opposite direction. It believes first and the evidence follows. The seed doesn't demand to see the tree before growing roots. It simply knows what it is and trusts the process of becoming. Likewise, when you hold faith, you don't wait for circumstances to confirm your desire. Your belief becomes the confirmation. You carry yourself differently, think differently, and act from the vibration of completion. This is why mere hope is weak compared to conviction. Hope whispers, maybe someday. Faith declares, it's already done. The energy of hope often keeps you in a state of waiting, unconsciously affirming the absence of what you seek. Faith, however, collapses time. It draws the unseen into the now through the power of feeling. You must feel the reality of your desire as though it's already unfolding. That feeling, that inner conviction, is what communicates with the creative intelligence of the universe. To feel it is real is to summon it. The moment you allow yourself to experience the emotion of having what you desire, the peace, joy, gratitude, or freedom, your vibration shifts. You are no longer aligned with lack, you are aligned with fulfillment. The universe then responds, not to your words, but to your energetic signature. You cannot deceive this law. It does not listen to what you say, it mirrors what you feel. Faith is not passive, it's active imagination, fused with emotion. It is the art of living in the end, of walking through each day as if the promise has already been fulfilled. When you think, speak, and move from that certainty, everything around you begins to rearrange itself to match your inner conviction. So stop waiting for signs and start being the sign. Stop asking when it will come and start feeling it now. Because the moment you know, not hope, but know, creation begins to take form. Faith doesn't look for proof, it becomes the proof. Surrender is not a sign of weakness, it is the highest form of strength. It takes far more courage to release control than to cling to it. The human mind is trained to manipulate, to plan, to force outcomes, but the soul knows a deeper truth. What is truly meant for you does not require struggle. When you let go of the need to dictate the how and when, you create space for divine intelligence to move through you. This is the power of surrender. It opens the floodgates of grace, allowing life to flow effortlessly in your favor. True surrender is not about giving up, it's about giving over, handing the steering wheel of your life back to the source that created you. It's the quiet confidence that you don't need to control every detail because a higher wisdom already has the blueprint. When you stop resisting, you stop creating friction. The energy that was once tangled in anxiety and doubt is freed to attract the very outcomes you were striving for, life becomes lighter, smoother, and surprisingly precise. The ego believes that control equals safety. It wants to manage timing, predict outcomes, and understand every step. But control is born from fear. Fear that things won't work out unless you make them. Surrender is born from trust, the knowing that things will work out because they're guided by a power infinitely wiser than you. When you surrender, you align with that wisdom. You stop swimming upstream and allow the current of divine timing to carry you exactly where you need to go. It's in this state of surrender that miracles happen. Opportunities appear from nowhere. Doors open without effort. People cross your path who seem heaven-sent. The flow of favor begins to accelerate because your energy is no longer resisting the very blessings you've been asking for. You stop blocking the current with worry and begin to flow with it through faith. Surrender doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing your part with peace instead of panic. It means taking inspired action, then releasing attachment to the outcome. You plant the seed and trust that it will grow in its own season. You stop digging up the soil every day to check if it's working. The seed knows how to grow. It just needs your patience and belief. When you live from a surrendered state, your life becomes a dance between intention and trust. You set your desire, align your belief, and then rest in the knowing that divine timing is perfect. The waiting becomes peaceful because you understand that delay is not denial, it's preparation. The truth is, the more you let go, the more power you invite in. Surrender is not the end of effort, it's the beginning of effortless alignment. When you stop trying to control everything, life reveals how beautifully it was designed to work in your favor all along. You are not being punished, you are being prepared. The discomfort, the delays, the uncertainty, none of it is random. Every challenge you're facing right now is part of a divine preparation process, shaping you into the version of yourself capable of holding the blessing you've prayed for. What you call struggle, heaven calls strengthening. What you perceive as chaos is often construction. The universe is not working against you, it's refining you. When you ask for greater things, for love, success, peace, abundance, purpose, you are, in essence, asking to be transformed. Because what you desire cannot exist at the same level of consciousness where you first desired it. A new reality requires a new you. The gap between prayer and manifestation is where that transformation takes place. It's the sacred space where your faith is tested, your patience stretched, and your trust deepened. In those moments when nothing seems to be moving, something powerful is happening within you. The divine is teaching you endurance, humility, gratitude, and surrender. These are not punishments. They're the spiritual muscles required to carry what's coming. Blessings have weight, and unprepared hands can drop what they've been given. The preparation is not to make you suffer, it's to make you strong enough to sustain the magnitude of what's meant for you. Think about it. If everything you wanted came instantly, you might not appreciate it, understand it, or even recognize it. You might still be operating from an old mindset, one that could sabotage the very thing you prayed for. The delay is divine mercy, ensuring your character, wisdom, and energy align with your request. The universe always delivers, but it will never give you something that would harm you or diminish your growth. The process often feels like breaking, but it's really becoming. The challenges chip away at everything that isn't aligned with your higher self. The pain purifies your motives, clarifies your desires, and expands your capacity to love, trust, and create. What looks like loss is often the clearing of space for something far greater. What feels like being stripped is actually being refined. So instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" begin to ask, "What is this preparing me for?" That simple shift in perception transforms suffering into purpose. You start to see that every obstacle was training, every heartbreak was awakening, and every detour was direction. When the time is right, you'll look back and realize that the preparation was the greatest gift. Because when the blessing finally arrives, the relationship, the opportunity, the breakthrough, you'll be ready. You'll have the strength, wisdom, and grace to hold it with gratitude rather than fear. The truth is, you are not waiting for the blessing. The blessing is waiting for you to be ready. And this current season, no matter how uncomfortable, is molding you into that readiness. The shift is shaping you, preparing you, and positioning you for everything you once asked for. The shift has begun, quietly, powerfully, and divinely. Everything that once seemed still is now moving, aligning, and unfolding perfectly in your favor. The unseen realm has already responded to your faith, and though the evidence may not yet appear, the promise is already fulfilled. You are no longer waiting for life to change. Life is responding to the change within you. Every moment of resistance was redirection. Every delay was divine preparation. Every closed door was a doorway to something greater. The universe is not testing you, it is teaching you to trust the unseen. When you hold faith as knowing, surrender as strength, and alignment as your natural state, the impossible becomes inevitable. You are stepping into a new chapter, one guided by divine timing, carried by grace, and fueled by conviction. Remember this truth: nothing is working against you. Everything, every event, every silence, every shift is moving in your favor. So walk in peace, speak with faith, and move with quiet confidence. Because what's meant for you, thank you. Thank you for listening, for opening your heart to truth, and for believing in the unseen power that governs all things. May you walk in faith, live in alignment, and trust that God is moving everything in your favor, always. There comes a moment when you feel it, not with your eyes, but with your spirit. Something invisible is rearranging itself in your favor. The pieces that once felt scattered begin to fit together. The waiting, the silence, the unanswered prayers, they start to make sense. The shift is real, and everything, finally, is working for your good. You've walked through seasons that felt like endings, but they were preparations. You faced doors that refused to open, not realizing they were never meant for the version of you who stood there waiting. The shift is not the world changing, it's you changing. It's your consciousness being renewed, your perception awakening to divine order. Life has never been against you, only reflecting your inner conversation. The moment your inner dialogue turns from fear to faith, from lack to gratitude, reality bends to meet your belief. What you assume as true begins to clothe itself in facts. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. And when you begin to feel that everything is working out, even before it does, that feeling becomes law. The universe rearranges itself to honor your inner certainty. This is the unseen shift, the one that cannot be measured, but can be felt. Delay is not denial. The divine operates on timing, not time. What you think is stillness is sacred preparation. Life is not punishing you, it's positioning you. It's sculpting your faith until you are strong enough to hold what you once only dreamed of. So when things seem still, when progress seems slow, remember, alignment always precedes acceleration. You are not being tested, you are being trusted. Every challenge is an invitation to rise in consciousness, to anchor your awareness in truth rather than appearances. The moment you stop asking when and start declaring now, the current shifts. You step into a higher vibration where miracles are natural, not rare. Everything begins to work, not because the world changed, but because you did. The shift is real. You are not waiting for favor, you are walking in it. You are not chasing alignment, you are living it. Every delay, every detour, every heartbreak was recalibration for something greater. Trust the unfolding. The good you've imagined has already begun to take shape. You are standing in the doorway of answered prayers, and the universe is saying, "Welcome home." Everything is finally working for your good. Your outer world is not an independent force acting upon you. It is a mirror reflecting what you continually entertain within. Every experience, every encounter, every event in your life is a manifestation of your inner state of consciousness. What you hold as true within yourself becomes the pattern that the outer world must express. The world is not happening to you, it is responding through you. When your inner narrative is one of fear, lack, or limitation, life must present situations that confirm those beliefs. You will see evidence of struggle, conflict, and delay because your inner assumptions give them permission to exist. But the moment you shift that inner dialogue, when you begin to affirm that life is working for you, that you are supported, that abundance flows easily, everything external begins to reorganize itself in harmony with that truth. The change is not forced, it unfolds naturally. Because creation always follows consciousness. Your mind is the soil and your thoughts are the seeds. Whatever you plant, consciously or unconsciously, grows into your visible reality. Most people look at their lives and try to fix the effects without changing the cause. They rearrange circumstances, seek new relationships, chase opportunities, and fight against conditions. But the outer world cannot truly change until the inner world is renewed. Real transformation begins the moment you decide to think differently, to feel differently, to believe differently about who you are and what is possible for you. If you believe you are unworthy, life will keep showing you mirrors that reflect that belief. Rejection, neglect, missed chances. But if you begin to hold a new idea of yourself, one rooted in power, peace, and divine worth, the mirror shifts. You will start to meet people who value you, opportunities that align with your purpose, and moments that affirm your inner growth. This is not coincidence. It is law. The outer must obey the inner, because the seen is born from the unseen. When you become conscious of your inner conversations, you reclaim your creative power. Every thought is a cause in motion. Every emotion is an energy that shapes experience. To live intentionally, you must become the master of your internal state, not controlled by appearances, but grounded in the unseen truth that you are the architect of your world. Do not wait for life to prove your worth before you believe it. Believe it now, and life will prove it. Do not wait for evidence of change to feel different. Feel different now, and the evidence will appear. The outer world is fluid, flexible, and responsive to your dominant vibration. The shift begins within you. The moment you align your thoughts with faith instead of fear, gratitude instead of complaint, and love instead of lack, your reality must transform. Life has no choice but to mirror the consciousness you choose to sustain. You are not a passive observer. You are the creator, shaping the world by the story you tell within. The shift you seek does not begin in the movement of outer events. It begins in the quiet awakening of your awareness. Life does not transform because situations improve, people change, or opportunities suddenly appear. True transformation happens the moment you awaken to the realization that you are not a victim of life, but the creator of it. Everything external is a reflection of your inner awareness, shaped by the assumptions, emotions, and beliefs you consistently hold. The moment you recognize this truth, your entire reality begins to shift. Not because circumstances change first, but because your perception of yourself does. Awareness is the birthplace of transformation. You can only change what you are conscious of. Most people move through life reacting to conditions, blaming others and feeling powerless to change what they experience. They repeat the same patterns, unaware that those patterns are being generated from within. But when you stop and observe your thoughts, when you begin to question what you have accepted as true, you reclaim the authority you once gave away. You begin to see that every event, even those that seem painful or confusing, is an echo of your inner state. Awareness breaks the cycle of unconscious living and restores your power to choose differently. In this case, this is the moment the shift begins, not when your situation improves, but when you wake up to your creative role in shaping it. You begin to realize that life responds to the energy you embody. When you live from fear, you experience more things to fear. When you live from faith, you encounter opportunities that confirm your belief in the good. The world bends to match your awareness because consciousness is the foundation of all creation. Circumstances are not causes, they are effects. They are the outpicturing of what you hold within. Trying to change life without changing your inner state is like rearranging the reflection in a mirror while ignoring the person standing before it. The reflection will always return to the image it mirrors. Once you shift within, once you accept yourself as the author rather than the victim, the reflection must follow. This awakening is not about control, it is about surrendering false powerlessness. You stop waiting for the world to give you permission to rise. You stop needing conditions to improve before you feel peace. Instead, you anchor yourself in the knowing that you are the source. You are the consciousness through which life flows and takes shape. When you live from this awareness, even challenges become sacred. You begin to see obstacles as invitations to deepen your understanding of who you are. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What within me is this revealing?" That single shift in awareness turns pain into wisdom, chaos into clarity, and delay into divine timing. The shift doesn't wait for perfect conditions. It begins the instant you awaken to your creative nature. From that awareness, life unfolds differently. Not because the outer world has power, but because you finally remember that it never did. The real shift never starts with events around you. It starts the moment your awareness wakes up and you see life differently. Most people wait for something to change outside, a new job, a new person, more money, before they allow themselves to feel new inside. But the truth is that nothing outside can move until something inside moves first. The instant you become aware that you are not helpless, that you are not at the mercy of luck or timing, the axis of your life tilts. Awareness is like turning on a light in a dark room. The furniture was always there, you just couldn't see where you were bumping into things. Once the light comes on, you stop stumbling. In the same way, when you become conscious of the thoughts and feelings you've been living from, you stop being ruled by them. You begin to choose them. You realize you are not the story of what happened to you. You are the consciousness that can rewrite that story. From that awareness, you start to notice how your state shapes experience. When you carry resentment, the world mirrors it back. When you carry gratitude, people and events reflect that too. Awareness doesn't change things instantly, but it gives you the power to stop feeding the old energy and start cultivating a new one. You stop reacting to appearances and start responding from inner clarity. The outer world is only an echo. Trying to fix it without shifting awareness is like trying to change a shadow without moving the object that casts it. Once you recognize that you are the source of what you see, the struggle eases. You don't have to fight conditions anymore. You simply shift the way you see yourself, and conditions will find a way to match it. This awakening isn't about controlling life. It's about remembering you already create it. It's not about forcing outcomes. It's about choosing the inner state from which outcomes unfold naturally. When you live from that level of consciousness, even challenges lose their power to shake you. They become signals pointing you back to alignment, reminders to return to awareness instead of resistance. So don't wait for circumstances to prove that the shift has begun. Feel it now. Become aware now. The moment you awaken to your creative nature, the old cycle breaks. You are no longer reacting to life. Life is responding to you. That is where true transformation begins. In awareness, not in circumstances. Delay is one of life's greatest teachers, though it rarely feels that way in the moment. When you've prayed, believed, and acted in faith, yet nothing seems to move, the waiting can feel endless. But what appears as delay is not rejection, it is preparation. Every pause holds purpose. Every detour hides divine precision. There is an unseen intelligence arranging the details of your life with perfect accuracy, aligning people, places, and timing in ways your mind could never orchestrate. You are never being denied, you are being refined. The space between desire and manifestation is sacred. It's where you are stretched, strengthened, and shaped into the version of yourself that can hold the blessing without losing balance. Sometimes what you ask for is already prepared, but you are not yet prepared for it. So life slows the pace, not to frustrate you, but to fortify you. It is mercy disguised as delay. Think of a seed planted in the ground. You do not dig it up each day to check its progress. You trust the unseen process happening beneath the soil. Roots are forming long before you see the sprout. In the same way, when it feels like nothing is happening, everything is happening. The divine is working in the invisible, strengthening your faith, refining your focus, teaching you patience, and clearing what no longer serves your destiny. Delay is the quiet workshop where your readiness is forged. The truth is, timing is not measured by your clock, but by your growth. The universe doesn't rush because it is never late. What you perceive as stillness is often alignment taking place behind the scenes. People are being positioned, opportunities are being prepared, circumstances are being shifted so that when the moment arrives, everything flows effortlessly. If the door opened too soon, the blessing might overwhelm you or fall apart. Cup in beyond the low, but when it opens in divine timing, it unfolds with grace. Trust that every not yet is a sacred protection. Sometimes the waiting reveals what you truly desire. It tests whether your faith is anchored in results or rooted in belief. Waiting purifies your intentions. It strips away impatience, control, and fear until only faith remains. And faith is the magnet for fulfillment. And faith is the magnet for fulfillment. When you surrender to divine timing, you stop forcing outcomes and start flowing with purpose. You understand that the universe doesn't delay to punish, but to perfect. You stop asking, why is it taking so long? And start declaring, everything is unfolding exactly as it should. That shift in perspective transforms waiting from torment into trust. Delay is not denial, it is divine choreography. The moment you align with that truth, peace replaces frustration. You no longer chase what's yours, you attract it in due season. When the time is right, nothing can stop it. The doors will open naturally, the right people will appear, and what once felt distant will stand before you as proof that divine timing was never a delay at all. It was destiny, patiently waiting for you to be ready. Miracles are not accidents. They are responses to the state of being you sustain. Life is vibrational, and everything that comes to you is drawn by resonance. The energy you dwell in, whether fear or faith, doubt or trust, lack or abundance, sends a signal that the universe faithfully answers. When you live in gratitude, peace, and certainty, you become a magnet for divine orchestration. The unseen begins to work for you because your energy declares that you are ready to receive. Every thought, every emotion, and every assumption carries a frequency. You cannot hold thoughts of lack and expect to experience abundance. You cannot dwell in worry and attract peace. The universe doesn't respond to what you say you want. It responds to what you are. Your state of being speaks louder than your words. It tells the unseen realm what you believe about yourself and about life. When you dwell in gratitude, you affirm that you already have enough, and that awareness opens the door for more. Gratitude multiplies whatever it touches. When you live in peace, you send out a vibration of trust, a signal that says, I am not afraid of delay, I know everything is unfolding in my favor. When you walk in certainty, not arrogance but divine confidence, you align yourself with the creative power that turns unseen potential into visible reality. That is the magnetic state where miracles happen naturally. Your inner world is like a tuning fork. The moment you shift its vibration, everything around you begins to tune itself to match. You don't have to chase what's yours. It is drawn to you by energetic agreement. The key is not to control the outer, but to master the inner. To choose peace over panic, gratitude over grievance, faith over fear. When your state is elevated, you no longer seek miracles. You become one. Miracles are not random interruptions of natural law, they are the fulfillment of it. They occur when your energy aligns with the truth of who you are, a divine being, whole, abundant, and powerful. The more you dwell in that awareness, the more effortlessly life responds. The people, ideas, and opportunities you need begin to appear because your vibration calls them forth. Even in moments of uncertainty, your state of being determines whether you delay or accelerate what you desire. When you react with worry, you resist the flow of grace. When you respond with faith, you allow that grace to move freely. This is why inner alignment matters more than outer action. You can do all the right things physically, but if your energy carries doubt, the result remains distant. To become a magnet of miracles, nurture your inner atmosphere. Begin each day in gratitude. Center yourself in peace. Speak words of faith. Feel the reality of what you desire as if it already exists. The moment your state of being harmonizes with your vision, the unseen responds instantly. Life rushes to meet you at the frequency of your belief, and what once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. Life has a mysterious way of guiding you, even when it appears to be pulling everything apart. What feels like loss, disappointment, or rejection often hides a deeper blessing that only time can reveal. The truth is, everything is working for you, even when it seems against you. The universe never contradicts faith, it fulfills it. When you believe that life is happening through you and for you rather than to you, every challenge becomes a messenger of divine order, not chaos. There are moments when doors close abruptly, relationships fade, or plans collapse without warning. In those moments, it's easy to assume you've failed or been forgotten. But what if the rejection was protection? What if the ending was preparation for something you could not yet see? The unseen intelligence that governs the universe never wastes a moment of your experience. Every detour, delay, and disruption is a reordering toward your true path. You are being moved, not misplaced. When things don't go your way, it is not life working against you, it is life redirecting you towards something that aligns more deeply with who you are becoming. Sometimes the only way to move forward is through the very experiences that force you to release control and trust a higher plan. Pain, loss, and uncertainty often strip away illusions, revealing your inner strength and faith. What once looked like chaos begins to make sense when you view it from the lens of divine orchestration. You are never being punished, you are being positioned. Every setback carries within it the seed of transformation. The job you didn't get, the person who walked away, the opportunity that didn't unfold, each of these moments is part of a greater design that only unfolds fully in hindsight. The universe sees beyond what you can perceive. It knows when a path will lead you astray, or when a dream, if given too early, might overwhelm you. Faith is not believing when everything looks right. It's trusting when everything looks wrong. The universe listens not to your complaints, but to your conviction. When your faith remains steady in the midst of uncertainty, life bends to honor it. The very things that once felt like obstacles become stepping stones. What seemed like loss transforms into gain, and what once felt like rejection reveals itself as redirect. The key is to hold your peace in the midst of the storm, to remember that every season serves a purpose, even the painful ones. The hand that closes one door is the same hand preparing to open another. The more you trust that everything is working for you, the more gracefully you move through life. You stop resisting what happens and begin aligning with what's unfolding. So when life appears to turn against you, whisper to yourself, "Even this is working for my good," because it is. Beneath the surface of confusion, divine intelligence is arranging everything perfectly. And in time, you look back and realize nothing was ever lost, only redirected towards something greater than you imagined. Everything that is happening in your life right now, the waiting, the change, the uncertainty, the breakthrough, it's all part of a divine orchestration moving you closer to who you truly are. The shift is not something coming, it's something already unfolding within you. As your awareness expands, your world responds. As your faith deepens, life rearranges itself to match it. You are no longer at the mercy of circumstances, you are the author of them. The universe is not against you, it is for you, guiding, aligning, and positioning everything perfectly in divine timing. The shift is real. It began the moment you chose to believe in something greater than fear, greater than delay, greater than doubt. You are stepping into a new season where everything is finally working for your good, not because the world changed, but because you did. So stand firm in faith, walk in gratitude, and live in the knowing that what is meant for you can never be lost. The unseen is already working, and the evidence will soon follow. Thank you, note. Thank you for listening, for believing, and for allowing these words to remind you of your power, your purpose, and your divine connection. May this message awaken in you a deeper faith, a calmer heart, and the courage to trust the timing of your own becoming. Remember, the shift is not coming. It has already begun. Everything is working for your good. Thank you, and may you walk in peace, alignment, and unshakable trust. There comes a moment in every journey where the visible world seems painfully slow, where nothing appears to be shifting, and you wonder if all your inner work, your prayers, your imaginal discipline, your persistence has been in vain. But what you do not see is far more powerful than what you do. Behind the scenes, a reality you have already claimed is weaving itself into form with perfect precision. Life is not ignoring you. It is aligning itself with the state you have accepted as true. You must understand something profound. The outer world is the final echo, not the beginning. Every outcome, every breakthrough, every blessing is first born in the invisible. And once it exists within you, it must externalize, just as surely as a shadow must follow its source. So if right now the scene around you seems unchanged, don't mistake silence for stagnation. A seed does not sprout the moment it touches the soil, yet beneath the surface it is bursting, forming, preparing for the light. Your inner conversations, the assumptions you persist in despite appearances, are the blueprints of your unfolding life. If you hold the end so firmly that you feel it as real, then the world is obligated to reflect it. It has no choice. Reality bends to the one who refuses to surrender their inner state. This is why it is essential to keep going. Not because the path is hard, but because the harvest is already yours. You are merely walking to where it has been placed. Every day you persist, every moment you return to the end, every time you choose the feeling of fulfillment over the evidence of delay, you accelerate the process. You become aligned with what is meant for you. And let me remind you, the greatest movements happen when nothing seems to be happening at all. The phone call you need, the opportunity forming, the person deciding, the shift arranging, the doors preparing to open. All of this is in motion long before it reaches your senses. Life does not reveal the construction phase, it shows you only the finished product. That is why faith is the bridge between the unseen and the seen. So hold your vision, return to it often, live in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, become the version of you who already has what you desire. When your inner state is consistent, your outer world must bow to it. It must reorganize itself to match the reality you have assumed. You are closer than you think. You are standing in the hallway between your old story and your new manifestation. And though hallways feel empty, they lead to rooms already prepared for you. And your unseen world is far more alive and active than you realize. While the external world appears to move at its own pace, the true work, the real orchestration of your life, is happening in the invisible realm. Every thought you think, every feeling you harbor, every assumption you carry quietly shapes the foundation upon which your future unfolds. It is easy to mistake the lack of immediate evidence as stagnation, but what is unseen operates on a timeline that does not conform to your impatience. The pieces are being arranged long before your senses perceive any movement, and the subtle mechanics of reality are quietly aligning themselves with the state you have embraced internally. The unseen world responds not to your fleeting desires or passing whims, but to the beliefs you hold as true. When you imagine a scene vividly and feel it as if it already exists, you are planting a seed in the fertile soil of the invisible. That seed, nurtured by the consistency of your attention and feeling, begins to grow and organize itself into a pattern that must eventually manifest. The moment it takes form externally is not the beginning of its existence. It is merely the unveiling of what has already been completed behind the scenes. This is why it is so critical to guard your inner life, to protect it from doubt and distraction. The unseen does not negotiate. It obeys the laws of consciousness precisely. Often, life appears to lag, and the delay can tempt you to abandon your inner work. Yet, these pauses are never signs of failure. They are the quiet periods of construction, the moments when the threads of your desire are being woven together in ways too intricate for the human eye to detect. Like an artist meticulously sketching a masterpiece before the first stroke of color is visible, the unseen world is preparing the environment, the circumstances, and even the people who will serve your vision. Everything is moving, though it may feel as if nothing is. Understanding this requires a shift in perspective. You are not waiting for the world to act on your behalf. The world is responding to the state you inhabit. If your mind is scattered, your feelings inconsistent, your belief fragile, then the unseen will hesitate, adjust, or delay its work. But when you embody the reality you desire with unwavering conviction, every unseen element aligns, doors begin to open, opportunities appear, coincidences multiply, and what once seemed impossible starts to feel inevitable. The unseen world is patient and precise. It does not rush or stumble. It operates with perfect timing and infinite wisdom. Your role is not to force it or to constantly question it, but to maintain your state of faith, clarity, and inner knowing. The unseen has already completed what you seek. Your task is to persist in the awareness of that completion, to live as if it has already arrived, and to trust that the manifestation will follow naturally. Every delayed sign, every apparent obstacle is simply part of the unseen arrangement, orchestrating events, people, and circumstances with precision. When you grasp this truth, you move with serenity rather than anxiety, knowing that your desires are being fulfilled, even before the evidence is visible. The unseen is alive, responsive, and always working in your favor. The faith, persistence, and unwavering attention ensure that when the time is right, the evidence will finally appear, revealing the intricate work that has been quietly unfolding all along. Everything you experience in life begins as an assumption within your own consciousness. The thoughts you habitually entertain, the beliefs you quietly nurture, and the inner images you persistently dwell upon act as the architects of your external reality. Life does not randomly happen to you, it is a reflection of what you hold as true in your mind. Every circumstance, every relationship, every event is ultimately a mirror of your internal assumption. What you accept internally as real will inevitably manifest externally, because the world outside is merely a shadow of the world within. Assumptions are not just fleeting thoughts, they are powerful forces that shape the foundation upon which your entire life is built. When you assume something will occur, when you hold it as an inevitable reality, your subconscious mind begins to organize your experiences around that assumption. It aligns your actions, your perceptions, and even the behavior of others with the reality you have chosen internally. Conversely, doubts, fears, and contradictory assumptions produce a life that reflects uncertainty, struggle, and delay. The key lies not in the effort you expend outwardly, but in the consistency of the inner state you maintain. Persistence in your assumptions is the true measure of creative power. A single fleeting thought may spark an idea, but it is the continued, unwavering assumption of a desired outcome that establishes the stage on which your life unfolds. Like a director carefully planning every scene of a play, your internal assumptions dictate the scenery, the actors, and the sequence of events. If you persist in imagining success, fulfillment, and harmony, your external circumstances will gradually conspire to support that vision. If your assumptions are filled with lack, fear, or doubt, your environment will reflect the same. The universe does not argue with what you assume, it simply brings forth the circumstances that match your persistent inner state. The moment you realize that your inner world is the blueprint of your outer life, you gain control over the seemingly uncontrollable. You begin to see that external chaos is merely the result of conflicting or unexamined assumptions. By consciously choosing what you assume and maintaining that assumption with faith, you begin to reshape the stage of your life. You become the playwright, director, and lead actor in your own unfolding story. Each day, every thought, every feeling contributes to the setting, the plot, and the outcome. It is also essential to understand that this process does not always produce immediate results. The outer world must align with your inner assumption in its own time and manner, often beyond your immediate perception. Yet, the power of persistence ensures that no matter how long it takes, the life that corresponds to your inner assumption will manifest. Your assumption, held firmly and lived consistently, becomes a gravitational force, drawing circumstances, people, and events into alignment with your vision. The stage on which your life stands is not created by chance, effort, or external conditions. It is constructed entirely by what you assume and persist in internally. Your outer world is the inevitable reflection of your inner state. The clarity, consistency, and conviction with which you hold your assumptions determine not only the scenery and events, but also the quality of your entire life experience. To master your life, therefore, is to master your assumptions. and persist in them with unwavering belief, knowing that the world around you will faithfully mirror the reality you have chosen within. Delays are often misunderstood. When something you deeply desire does not arrive as quickly as you expect, it is easy to assume that life is against you, that your dreams are slipping away, or that your efforts are in vain. Yet, delays are not denials. They are the hidden, quiet construction of your desire, the unseen preparation that must take place before the manifestation can appear in your physical reality. Every delay has a purpose. It is a sign that the process of creation is moving with precision unseen by your senses, and that the fulfillment of your desire is being meticulously arranged. The outer world operates on visible evidence, but the inner world operates on assumption, feeling, and faith. Your desires are first established in the invisible realm, and before they can be reflected outside, they require alignment at every level: mental, emotional, and spiritual. Delays are the silent period in which this alignment occurs. They are the time when circumstances are being ordered, opportunities are being prepared, and people and events are being guided into their proper positions. What appears as waiting or stagnation is actually an active, deliberate process in the unseen realm, working to bring your inner vision into exact harmony with reality. It is important to recognize that delays are not accidental. They occur because your desire is being perfected, because the timing must be right for the fullest expression of your vision. Rushing the process or succumbing to doubt can disrupt this delicate unfolding. On the other hand, patience and persistence strengthen your inner alignment. Each day that you continue to embody the feeling of the wish fulfilled, each moment you maintain faith instead of frustration, you are accelerating the unseen construction of your desire. The delay is simply a necessary stage, ensuring that what comes forth will be complete, abundant, and perfectly timed. Many fail to see the wisdom in delays because they judge reality by appearances alone. They expect immediate results and become anxious or discouraged when none arrive. But the truth is that what is coming for you is already finished in the unseen. It simply must follow the sequence of preparation before it can manifest visibly. Think of it like a building under construction. The framework, the plumbing, the wiring, all essential elements must be installed before the walls can be painted. To focus solely on the visible result is to miss the importance of the preparation happening behind the scenes. Understanding that delays are not denials allows you to maintain peace, clarity, and faith during the waiting period. You begin to see that every pause, every moment of apparent inactivity is actually a sign that your desire is being organized, refined, and brought into form with absolute precision. The unseen forces are working tirelessly, silently, and with perfect intelligence to deliver exactly what you have assumed and persisted in. So rather than becoming anxious or disheartened by the absence of immediate evidence, recognize that delays are a natural and necessary part of manifestation. They are the quiet construction, the meticulous preparation, and the invisible arrangement of all that you seek. When the time is right, your desire will appear, not as a fragment, but as the complete, fully formed reality that has been quietly constructed in your favor. Delays are simply the prelude to your ultimate victory, a reminder that the unseen world is always working, always building, and always bringing your dreams into perfect expression. For Albright, Your inner state is the true cause of everything you experience, while outer circumstances are merely its shadow, a reflection of the reality you carry within. Too often, people look to the external world for evidence of their desires, believing that conditions must first change before they can feel fulfilled, confident, or happy. Yet this is a reversal of truth. It is not the world that creates your state. It is your state that creates the world. Your thoughts, beliefs, and emotions act as the invisible blueprint, and life itself obeys the patterns you maintain internally. What you see outside is always secondary. It is a mirror, an echo, a shadow cast by the inner reality you cultivate. This principle explains why two people can live in seemingly identical circumstances yet experience life in completely different ways. One may see struggle and limitation, while the other sees opportunity and abundance. The difference is not in the external world, it is in the state each person occupies within. Your inner state is powerful because it determines how you interpret every event, how you respond to every situation, and how you attract experiences into your life. Outer circumstances cannot dictate your reality unless you allow them to influence your internal state. The outer world is consistent only with the inner world. If you persist in fear, doubt, or frustration, you will see evidence of these states reflected in your life. If you maintain a sense of certainty, faith, and fulfillment, the world will adjust accordingly. This does not mean that challenges disappear, but it does mean that your perception, response, and the ultimate outcome are shaped by the inner state you occupy. The shadow cannot act independently. It can only mirror what is already established within. Understanding this shifts the locus of control from external events to your consciousness. Instead of reacting to what happens outside, you focus on what you hold inside. Your imagination, your assumptions, and your feelings become the instruments of creation. When you inhabit the end result, when you live and feel as if your desires are already realized, the outer world is compelled to correspond. It cannot resist the magnetic force of a sustained inner state. This is why the inner world must be treated with reverence and discipline, for it is the soil in which every experience grows. Many fail to grasp this because they equate seeing with believing. They wait for proof before they feel confident. They wait for circumstances before they feel worthy. They wait for opportunity before they feel successful. But this is backward. The proof always follows the cause. The seed must be planted, nurtured, and matured before the fruit appears. Your inner state is that seed, and the outer world is its inevitable harvest. By focusing on your inner state, you reclaim power over your life. You no longer depend on shifting circumstances to dictate your peace, your joy, or your fate. You cultivate a consciousness that generates its own reality, knowing that everything external is simply a reflection of what is firmly established within. Outer circumstances are powerless to resist a consistent inner state. They may wobble, they may resist temporarily, but eventually the shadow aligns perfectly with the light of your consciousness. To master your life, therefore, is to master your inner state. To shift your experience is not to battle external conditions, but to harmonize your mind, heart, and imagination with the reality you desire. When your inner state is unwavering, the outer world has no choice but to reflect it. Your inner world is the true cause. The outer world is merely its faithful shadow. When you refuse to fold, when you hold fast to your vision, your conviction, and your inner state despite every challenge or appearance of delay, reality has no choice but to bend toward your persistence. Persistence is not merely stubbornness or blind effort. It is a sustained inner assumption, a refusal to abandon the feeling of the end you desire. When you maintain this inner fidelity, the universe, which is always responsive to consciousness, begins to adjust, rearrange, and align everything in perfect accordance with the reality you have assumed. What seems immovable in the outer world cannot withstand the consistent pressure of an unwavering inner state. The world often tests your resolve. Appearances may suggest resistance, circumstances may seem contrary, and people may fail to respond as you expect. These are not signs that your dream is impossible or that the universe is uncooperative. They are tests of your commitment, invitations to strengthen your inner state, and opportunities to demonstrate that your belief in the unseen is greater than your reliance on the visible. When you persist, when you refuse to fold, you are signaling to the unseen realm that your desire is no longer negotiable. This refusal to yield creates a magnetic force that reality cannot resist. Persistence operates on a level beyond effort or struggle. It is the unshakable awareness that what you desire is already yours in the unseen, and the determination to maintain that awareness regardless of outer appearances. Every thought, feeling, and action that aligns with this inner state adds pressure to reality. The outer world, which reflects your inner assumptions, is compelled to comply with the law of correspondence. In essence, the universe has no choice but to bend, slowly or suddenly, to match the reality you continue to inhabit internally. Many give up too soon because they are seduced by the evidence of their senses. They look at delays, obstacles, or a lack of visible progress and interpret it as failure. But the truth is that the unseen is always working. It is merely following its own timeline. The person who refuses to fold becomes a force of inevitability. Their steadfast inner assumption creates a momentum that the outer world must ultimately acknowledge. Doors open, opportunities present themselves, circumstances shift, and people respond, all as a natural consequence of inner persistence. Refusal to fold is not passive, it is active faith. It requires discipline to return repeatedly to the feeling of the end, to inhabit the reality you desire, even when external proof is absent. It requires courage to stand firm in your conviction while the world seems to resist. Yet this very act, this unwavering persistence, sets in motion the invisible currents that bring your desire into manifestation. The outer world may lag, it may challenge, and it may delay, but it cannot withstand the consistent, conscious pressure of a mind and heart aligned with their true desire. Persistence breaks through. What once appeared immovable yields. What seemed impossible becomes inevitable. Reality, which once seemed indifferent, now conspires in your favor. When you refuse to fold, you are no longer at the mercy of circumstance. You become the magnet, the orchestrator, and the cause of the unfolding reality. The universe bends, rearranges, and cooperates, not because it is forced, but because persistence and consciousness is the law to which all things must obey. Your steadfast refusal to fold ensures that the world outside becomes a faithful reflection of the unyielding truth you hold within. Everything you desire already exists. It is complete, whole, and perfect within the realm of your imagination. The fulfillment of your dreams is not something that is waiting to be created in the external world. It has already been formed in the invisible. What appears as delay, waiting, or struggle in the outer world is simply the unfolding of a process that has already been completed internally. You are not creating your desire from scratch. You are aligning yourself with a reality that already exists, walking toward the unveiling of what has been quietly perfected within your consciousness. To understand this, you must first recognize the power of the mind and imagination. Every circumstance, event, and experience in your life originates from your inner state. The desires you hold, the visions you entertain, and the assumptions you persist in are seeds planted in the fertile soil of consciousness. These seeds are not partial or incomplete. They exist as fully grown realities within the invisible. The act of imagining, feeling, and assuming is the acknowledgement that your desire is already a fact. The outer world simply takes time to conform to the internal truth you have established. The journey toward manifestation is a journey of alignment, not creation. You are not waiting for new conditions or external validations. You are walking into the realization of what has already been accomplished within. Your role is to embody the state of the wish fulfilled, to feel the joy, satisfaction, and completeness of your desire now, before the world presents it as evidence. By doing so, you create a magnetic field that draws the invisible into the visible, that brings the already finished into tangible form. Delays are not denials. They are simply the time it takes for the world outside to mirror what has been long completed inside. Many struggle because they look to the external world for confirmation, believing that fulfillment must appear first in their circumstances. They chase results, react to obstacles, and measure progress by appearances. This is a reversal of the natural order. The unseen is the cause, the seen is the effect. By living in alignment with the end result, by assuming it internally as already true, you set in motion the forces that allow the external world to catch up with the internal reality. You are walking along a path that has already been paved. Each step is a conscious participation in the manifestation of what is already complete. This perspective changes the way you respond to challenges, delays, and setbacks. You no longer see them as proof of lack, but as part of the natural unfolding of your finished desire. Patience is not passive. It is an active acknowledgement that the inner reality is already perfect. Every thought, every feeling, and every choice becomes an opportunity to reinforce the state of fulfillment you hold within. You are constantly moving toward the revelation, the unveiling, and the expression of that which exists invisibly but completely. And unlike the inherent enormity curse, which is that theft of your desires are not distant goals to be chased. They are present realities to be assumed. Everything you long for is already finished within you. The world outside is simply catching up to your inner truth. By maintaining faith, by living in the feeling of the end, and by walking with unwavering belief, you allow the external circumstances to align naturally with the perfection that already exists internally. You are not creating something new. You are witnessing the inevitable unveiling of what has long been complete. In conclusion, the journey of manifestation is not about forcing circumstances or chasing results. It is about cultivating the inner state that aligns with the reality you desire. Every delay, every unseen arrangement, and every challenge is simply part of the quiet orchestration happening behind the scenes. Your assumptions, persistence, and unwavering faith are the true forces shaping your life. When you hold your vision, embody the feeling of the end, and refuse to fold, reality has no choice but to respond. Everything you desire is already complete within. Your task is to maintain faith, stay aligned, and patiently walk toward its unveiling. The outer world is simply the reflection of your inner state, and as long as you remain steadfast, the manifestation of your desires is inevitable. Thank you for listening, and may you continue to trust the unseen and keep moving forward with faith and persistence.